Okay, hello everyone. So today is a bit strange thing, a bit stranger than usual because we are talking to Sabine, which is somewhere else. She is where? Where are you now?
I'm at the Impact Hub Amsterdam in my favorite call booth, which is an ex-toilet, as you can see.
Oh yes, yes, it's brilliant. And Sabine and I, we met a few months back in London at the Fashion Revolution Week. That's right.
That's
And
right.
you were giving not really a lecture, but what were you doing there and what is your line of expertise?
So I'm a copywriter and copy coach for ethical brands. And I was invited to speak on a panel at that event about ethical fashion and why ethical fashion is so expensive.
My personal struggle, let's say, with the ethical brand is not really the price tag, but is how you define ethical fashion. Do you get an idea about this? What is ethical?
And I think the majority of the unethical practices actually don't take place in the way that somebody who is based here in the West directly exploits somebody in the East. What's happening is that very often part of the supply chain is outsourced with very little supervision. And even though these outsourced partners in the supply chain may even abide by local law, that local law often doesn't stand up to what we in the West think of as ethical behavior. So this is where the conflict really becomes very practical, and where it's more than just committing yourself to paying a wage that is kind of in conformity with local practices or abiding by local practices. The question is, if you're selling to a Western audience and you want to be seen as ethical in the eyes of your customers, you need to understand the ethics of your customers. And again, I think that means we need to go back to what ethics really are. So for example, for me personally, with my German heritage, Immanuel Kant has always been a really good guiding light, a big German Enlightenment philosopher who basically defined ethics as the categorical imperative. If you can imagine that everybody in the world should do as you do, then that can guide your behavior. So we need to ask ourselves, for example, if I'm saying, okay, I want to produce my clothes in a factory far, far away from where I'm based, and I don't know the people working there. I'm not able to go there to check up on how things are doing, and I'm happy to leave them to do as they think is right in keeping with local legislation there. Is that the right thing to do? Would I want everybody to do this? Would that make the world a better place? Like, that's a more fundamental question and kind of goes beyond whether it's more important to not use animal products, or whether it's more important to produce everything in Britain, or whether it's more important to produce overseas to make sure people have a chance of earning a livelihood. I think this goes a bit deeper, this question.
Every one of us, let's say, emerging little, not emerged, submerged brand designers are struggling to get a piece of sun, let's say, a ray of sun on our endeavors. And everyone, it might be independent, it might be sustainable, other magical word to say that you are good. Okay, fine. We have to fight back impossible people to fight back, which are, super brand, super recognized brand, or global brands. So the only way to fight back is on the honesty, transparency, ethical part of the things. This is one of the feeling that I do have. So people put a lot of themselves in front. But what I think is that we all are acting as individuals and not as a collective.
Actually, you introduced me to the idea of coming up with manifestos. I think it was very much on your mind when we first met. And
Yeah.
then after we spoke, I discovered all these existing manifestos
Yeah.
that I hadn't really maybe seen that much before. So I think actually you maybe had a hunch there that we're onto something right now, where there's a hunger for manifestos and a hunger for more definition around the term ethical.